Yep.
Just this time you're not talking in live chat.
Right, right. All right, so we are live. Hey, everybody. It's Adam. It's time for that time of week. The RC Drift Talk Show is what we call it. And cool, it is showing live. We've already got comments from Austin and Brian. If you are listening and watching, go ahead and like, subscribe, do the notification thing if you want to. We're almost to 400 subscribers. So that's
Nice.
pretty cool. And then once we get to 500, then we can start doing like super chats and all that other cool stuff. Let's see. We got Mile High. We got Aza. So cool, you guys. My camera's not pointing at me directly. We got Max. Hey. All right. So we got Judd. He's been on the stream before. So welcome back, Judd. And then we got Chris. Chris is the new guy, kind of, I guess. Chris is also actually at government camp, right?
That's right.
So if he looks a little bit laggy, that's why. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna talk about kind of Chris's experiences, basically starting from nothing, right? Nothing at all related to RC, even, correct?
That's right. Never really had any RC cars until we started with the drift.
Right on. Okay. So that's going to be coming up. We're going to do just like our normal thing so we can get those out of the way and like get going with the rest of the show. So to start off with, we're going to do calendar events. It's going to be same thing as usual. Tandem Tuesdays is always a thing at PDX. So that is something cool and hoping to get more popular. December 2nd, Hot Import Nights at the PDX Expo Center. That is going to be a fun gig as long as we get it. We still haven't had any confirmation about getting it yet. And then going into next year, again, April 12th to the 14th, Northwest Model and Hobby Expo in Monroe, Washington. So, yeah. Try to make it out to those events, you guys. If you're in the area, they are cool. Oh, I know Kevin didn't announce it Friday night, but it's not.
So announcing it Monday.
Yeah. So officially, there's going to be an official series held at PDX. Is that correct, you guys?
Yes, there will be a series. He's gonna make flyers and announce it with all the full details on Monday. He was gonna do it Friday night, and then got busy with racing. It took a lot longer than they had planned on.
There was a lot more people than I was expecting, like when I was there on Friday. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, it was the Rockstar event, so that's this is one of his busier series that he does for on-road guys or off-road guys.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Jake said it in chat. The first competition is going to be the 25th, which I believe is a Saturday. Is it a Saturday?
Yes, it is a Saturday.
And then the competitions afterward will be on Sundays. So far. So that is kind of what's going down the pipeline right now. Hey, we got Afro and Joey. Old times. Okay, who else we got? We got Chris, we got Busted, we got DJ.
Got a good group in there.
Yeah, we got a good group. Hey, Joey. All right. Let me, if you haven't already done the thing, well, not done the thing, but joined up. I gotta remember how to learn how to use Discord here. So here is the link for Discord. That link will expire in 7 days, so we don't just get bombarded with random people. But yeah, if you haven't joined Discord, go join Discord. We're going to be talking a lot about the like roast my rig and a new thing. We've got roast my workbench as requested by Jake, so that'll be an interesting one. We might have to. Well, I don't know how to blur images yet, but yeah, at least, well, this stream is not necessarily meant for kids, right? But yeah. Did you post pictures of your MC1, Judd?
No, not yet, but I shined it at the camera so that Austin could see it.
Okay. All right. So
I still need to do that. I need to figure that out.
You don't know how to Discord yet?
Well, I have my phone up here, and I'm using my spare phone. I don't know if I have Discord downloaded.
Oh.
Man, even I figured it out. Come on.
Hey, I'm rocking 2 phones and a TV right now.
All right. So Chris, let's go ahead and turn the spotlight over on you. Go ahead and just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you're doing now, why you're where now, and let's go from there.
Yeah, so my name's Chris Clayson. Never really was into any RC hobbies when I was younger or a kid, I guess we could say. I saw you guys a couple years ago at one of the car shows because I have a show car that I show at the expo when they have events there, and I thought that looked pretty cool. And then last year, I believe it was at Hot Import Nights when you guys were there, I just was like mesmerized and could not. I think I stood there and watched you guys drift longer than I looked at cars. And so, of course, immediately I was like, you know what, I should get one of those. And so bought a all-wheel drive drift car, and within days decided that was definitely not going to work. Then it was right around Christmas time because that event was in December, and Kenny's mom wanted to get him a Christmas present. I suggested that she get him a drift chassis, and so I helped her pick that out. And of course, I had to buy myself one at the same time. We put those together, played with those in the shop, and decided that was a lot of fun. And about that time, PDX kind of opened up, and we started going in there, and really haven't been able to stop since. It's just super fun. The people are super cool. Everybody kind of helps each other with tuning and getting their cars straight, and that's not something that I really experienced in a super, I wouldn't say elitist, but like super focused on one particular thing. Mm-hmm. So it's been a good experience. Definitely am into getting better, and I'm super excited to hear that there's going to be kind of a competition series because I'm pretty competitive minded and always trying to get better and past Tandem Tuesdays. Love those. Been able to make it to most of those, and that's been super fun. Just looking forward to driving with more people, and a competitive environment would be even better.
Right on. Okay, so you haven't been, I guess, swayed by competition yet, huh?
Well, I mean, so we do competitive snowboarding, and we have for a lot of years now. And so we're no strangers to judged events. Also being in the car culture and having people judge your car when you think it's the super cool, best thing ever. And sometimes people don't agree, but that's judging. It's it's super subjective. So you always have to remember, just because you think that something is good or that you did something good, the judges might see it a different way. And we experienced that in snowboarding at almost every event. You know, it's just, what do the judges like? Do they like what you like? Maybe not.
Right. Actually, so, okay, I'll bring this up later. But as far as like judging goes, like, because it sounds like, no, let's go there now. So as far as judging goes, Did you ever, like, when you were snowboarding, like, were you going up to the judges and asking, hey, what do you want to see? Or, like, just, like, doing your own scouting, right?
So I coach, and I'm kind of known as the coach that keeps notes and challenges. I do a lot of protests when my notes don't match what the judges' scores reflect, and usually my protests have never not been upheld, so I'm usually on the winning end of that because, like I said, I keep pretty good eye and pretty good notes on my athletes when they're competing. So yeah, just I get. Does that answer the question? Not really.
I mean, yeah, that's if you were, like, contesting. So, do you have, like, a lot of the same judges, like a core of the same judges?
So yeah, for some events, so different venues often have the same judges, and knowing what the judges look for is helpful. I mean, we build out runs and stuff that we know judges will score highly, so we know particular tricks and series of tricks and things to link together that will score high.
Okay, so
we know. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted. That's where I was going with that. Because I would imagine that if we can do the same thing with drifting, like, you'll eventually get to essentially know your judges, right? And once you know your judges, you'll be able to, like, compete and be able to show them what your actual skills are according to those judges.
So I run some events at the high school level too, and I always have during our writers meeting. I'll have the judges come to the meeting and have them tell the athletes specifically what they're looking for. Whether it's difficulty or amplitude or aggressiveness or technique or how well something's landed. They'll tell them specifically. I mean, at the writers meeting what they're looking for.
Right on. Side note, you guys, we are going to be talking about, like, winter sports and all that fun stuff. So in Roast Your Rig, if you want to post, like, skis, snowboards, other fun stuff related to the mountain, go ahead and do that so we can do some show and tell time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I know that when we started talking about snowboarding the other day, or like the other week, I pulled mine out and it was just covered in dust, and I was sad. I need to wax too, but okay.
That's shameful, Adam.
It's shameful. I didn't even go last year. That's shameful.
That is shameful.
But that's okay. That's okay. Sounds like we'll be going pretty often. Well, Judd will be going every week. Judd will be...
Yeah, definitely. I'll be there all the time.
Okay, so we're not there yet, but let's keep it to somewhat drifting. Oh, and side note, in chat, if you guys are paying attention, if I mention a topic change, tell me to change the color of the light, because we had a request for timestamps, and I think this will be the kind of the easier way for me to change. If you're wondering which light I'm talking about, it's the light that's doing weird things in, like, right behind me. So we can do like this or that. But now I changed it, so anyways, okay. Yes, Adam's mood light. That is a thing. Okay. Thanks, Chris. So let's get back to the drift talk. So, how long have you been drifting now?
So we built our first chassis like last Christmas, and I mean, we kind of dinked around in the shop, but I wouldn't really consider, really getting into the drifting until PDX opened. And then we were going in pretty much once a week and then eventually twice a week. So less than a year.
And what chassis did you start off with again?
So I had a MST RRX. the rear motor.
Okay. All right.
Wasn't super crazy about that one. So quickly I converted that to RMX, and then my main chassis right now is the RDX.
Okay. Right. So when you got into the hobby, even seeing us after like Hot Import Nights and just the car shows and whatnot, like what was your first impression of actually driving?
That it was a lot harder than it looked.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that I don't know. The assumption is that it would be something that I could pick up really quickly. And then I quickly realized that there's a big difference between just being able to make it around the track and being able to make it around the track proficiently. So
what about you, Judd? Because you haven't been drifting extremely long either.
I've been drifting since basically like a couple weeks after PDX opened, like on track. I have had a drift car for a couple years now, but never drifted any further than garage floor, and it was a RMX 2.0 bone stock.
So what about your like the first impression? Like, was it just overwhelming? Like, or was it overwhelming, or was it just like something that you knew that you're gonna like, so you're gonna stick to it?
Well, so I've been in the RC for quite a while, and when I showed up to like the track per se, it was just like everybody was. If you didn't know how to drive good, people would come give you tips and pointers and help you tune. And then I got rid of that car almost immediately, and then got a ZX. And then ever since then, it was just, I knew that RC drifting was going to be my main aspect of RC.
Okay. Here's a fun question. So, Chris, you've only had the RRX and the RMX or RDX. What's the time frame on that? Like, how long has that been since day one till now?
Yes, making the switch after probably about 6 months of trying to figure out, all of the tuning nuances and realizing that was challenging for somebody who had no real RC experience. And, everybody at the track's super helpful. Like, I've never experienced a group of guys that were that willing to give up their time while they're doing their hobby to help somebody, figure something out. It's just amazing. But eventually it got to the point, for me at least, when I saw the RDX, that I was like, I can run this car, and if something's not going right for me, I'll know it's me instead of the car.
I mean, pretty much everyone's
yes and no.
Yeah. Like, even though that the RDX is supposed to be like stupid proof, everyone's drives so differently. Like the other night, it's Travis, right? We were trying to figure out Travis's car because it was just too fast, like everywhere. Which is funny.
That's weird because I was having the exact opposite problem on Friday.
I mean, but we got that figured out. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, it's ripping now, so super happy.
Right. Okay, Judd, in contrast, so Chris has been over 6 months in 2 chassis. Let's hear about your story.
Oh gosh.
So remember how I said Judd is like still relatively new? So let's put a time frame on that. How long have you been drifting for, Judd?
Uh, 8 months.
Okay, so still under a year. And let's go down your tally of cars
that I have currently.
That you've had.
Oh, that I've had.
That you've had.
Be here for a minute.
We may need an extra hour.
No, I mean I had Todd do this too, and his list was long. So
yeah, I don't know if I remember all of the cars, to be honest. I've had 2 RMX 2.0s. One was bought and built just for a Mustang body. Sold that. Sold my other 2.0. And I bought a YD2ZX that I traded Austin, and now I have it back in a Midnight Mini form. I have bought two RDXs. One is now a Beast Mode RDX. The other one I just sold to Chris on Friday. I got the other Midnight Mini that I bought from you. Shoot. I just got this brand new MC1.
There you go. How about the cars you have right now?
Okay, so right now I have an MC1, the red edition, all Yokomo red, uppers, lowers, everything. I have the MD 1.0 that I just picked up last week from Damien. Beast Mode RDX. Midnight Shark with all Rev D upgrades. And I have two ZX minis.
Gotcha. You know, some would say that your MC1 is not a real MC1 until you get all the Rev D parts.
I mean, I could put everything from the Shark over and just flip flop.
No, it's yeah, it's funny. It's funny how people can be sometimes.
I also have this chassis that I just stripped everything out of.
That's a RDS, and it's a really good driving RDS.
It is. I just got the MC1, so I pulled all the electronics out of that and put them in the MC1 for now.
Right on. So a lot of turnover within the past 8 months for you.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, that's a lot of bodies.
I have a few things.
I mean,
picking up two more bodies tomorrow, actually.
It's kind of funny because, like, I think in this hobby, I've seen most where people just like kind of fall off the deep end or dive into the deep end, however you want to say it. Like, as far as chassis goes, you've had like a big variety of chassis. Like, Chris, what's your next chassis going to be?
So I think I'm probably just going to work on doing some mods to the RDX. I think it's a good platform for me to work on for a while and hone my skills before I really need to do anything else. I do have the Midnight Mini as well. So, I mean, I have a variety of things that I can stay entertained with.
So, okay.
I might be looking to upgrade electronics before buying any more chassis.
Okay. What electronics are you planning on?
I would like to stay inside the Rev D product line. I'm looking forward to that ESC when it comes out. Definitely like to check that out.
Yeah.
$348.
Is that really what it retails for? Holy smokes!
I mean, that's how much.
If you get it from GGT, he said you'll get a 10% discount, so it would be $313.20.
Well, maybe I'll just wait until Judd buys it, and then when he goes to the next flavor of the month, I'll just buy it from him.
I mean, technically, if you didn't care for the firmware, then it's the ZTW Beast 160 amp Pro ESC is what it is. We were talking about it last week.
I couldn't find the price on that.
It's like sub $200.
Oh, okay. So that's what I want. I want the firmware.
I'm kind of excited about that Bluetooth connectivity option.
Yep.
I'm not.
No.
But so
are you already running AccuVans and you get all that information on your remote anyways?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the funny thing is that, like, as far as the whole AccuVans thing is nice, and then it is going over the radio protocol, because we have so many drivers, like at PDX, it's sometimes not a possible thing until like the car's in front of me. Like, I can't program my car across the track anymore, which is good.
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's good because we have way more drivers, right? But at the same time, now we're starting to get into the area where AccuVans isn't as foolproof as it used to be. But at the same time, I can also say that it's more foolproof than like the Hobby Wing or the Yokomo wireless adapters. So I can only imagine that if we get a lot of people that are start running the Bluetooth adapters, that just everyone's Bluetooth list will be massive and annoying to try to figure out. That's how I feel about it. And then there's, of course, the idea that it might not connect, and then you'll have to go through all the troubleshooting steps of turning it off, turning it back on, all that fun stuff.
Those are definitely first world problems.
It is. Grant, yeah, it is. That's why I have the Hobby Wing program card in my bag at all times, because I
have it too.
Like I get frustrated just by watching the people try to connect them and then not being able to. And then the Yokomo one, right? It only works on like iPhone now because they haven't done a firmware update or something like that. Is that right?
The what?
The Yokomo Wi-Fi adapter.
Oh yeah, you can only either use an iPhone or an old Android.
That's depressing. Oh
yeah, that's why I carry 2 phones with me everywhere I go now. It's so stupid. Like if I gotta tune my BL4 Pro, I literally have to turn on my spare phone or dig it out of my bag, turn it on, just to tune my ESC. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't really use my Yokomo ESC anymore.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Like I had just put it in the what car? Put it in the MC1, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a problem I have. Too many cars to keep track of.
So, Chris, are you gonna also upgrade to like, basically everything Rev D?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, I have everything is Hobby Wing. So, I mean that the eventuality that those components are going to fail is probably pretty high.
Not actually. Like hobby electronics are pretty stout until you plug things in backwards, or until you're like Judd and throw things at like 130,000 RPMs or whatever.
Hey, that motor's still working.
Poor Kenny has been through an ESC and a motor already.
Right. Wasn't one of them the Yokomo titanium shaft motors? Like he snapped a shaft?
He snapped a shaft. He snapped a shaft in the Hobby Wing, the D10.
Oh geez.
And then for some reason randomly the ESC just blew up one night at the track and his car was actually on fire. So that was fun.
That was interesting.
Right. I think I was there each time that happened. So that's kind of funny. Because I don't make it up to PDX too often. Although it'll be more often than what it has been. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So, okay. Chris, let's talk about how you have your... Like, how do you set up your car? What do you like your car to feel like? Like... Because we were going over this kind of yesterday, and you kind of got an idea of how I go about tuning a car to where I go, right? So what do you look for in a good, smooth chassis for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you got my car, obviously I was expressing some frustration with how slow the transitions were, how slow it was getting up to speed. And so I do have a problem with how slow that I drive. And sometimes I wonder if that's not just the way I drive, but I'm trying to work on that skill. But I like to be able to keep up with the party laps. And my transitions last night were slow. So turning down the Revoc helped a lot, getting that to respond a little faster. I think the biggest change, and this is a total noob thing, it's half embarrassing to even say out loud, but taking it back to the bench and just flipping the tires around so that, you know, they weren't completely wore out probably helped the most.
I mean, yeah, we talked about that, and even Judd, we talked about that earlier that day, like literally that night.
Yeah.
And it's
Tires are a big must.
And it's not just like different tires, it's just having a good set of tires, right? Like not too used, or like even new tires. New tires feel better than like junked up ones that have been used for who knows how many days or months, right? But it's like we took for granted that we're running on plastic tires and they basically just never ever wear out. But now we're to the point where it's like everyone's skill has come up so far where it starts to matter now. And because we don't, then it matters. Like slow car. Like,
yeah, I mean,
things like that.
It definitely matters. You know, you get frustrated when you can't keep up with everybody else and you're trying to figure out why. And I kind of fell into that pitfall of trying to figure out what needed to be changed and changing all kinds of things and trying to tune the ESC, trying to tune the servo, changing things. And then it got really bad. And then trying to put things back one at a time to figure out, you know, where was going to be the best. And so that was helpful when you jumped in, and we basically started over at the bottom and worked our way back to where it got good.
We didn't go that far. Like it was just noticing the frustrations, because I saw Kenny at the bench with the program card out. And like, okay, Hobby Wing electronics and the Hobby Wing motor. If that's the thing that I think, if that's the motor that I think it is, then yeah. And it was kind of funny because Judd, have you experienced the rev hang from the D10 motors?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I first got into drifting, the D10 was all I knew. And I was like, oh, it's such a good motor. And then you were always like, I hate that thing. And then I bought the BS Dual from you and experienced what a more of a torquey motor felt like. And yeah, I mean, the Fledge isn't even like torquey enough for my liking.
Yep. So just for reference, the BS Dual that he has is 10.5 with a 13 mil rotor. So I think it's one of the more torquey rotors that you can get for that motor, but it's also wound differently, so it feels quite a bit different than a Fledge does. But yeah, Joey in chat's asking what surface is PDX running and what tire do they enforce, which Lance already answered. So yeah, it's a newly resurfaced P-tile with DRP tires. Jake Lance and I were playing around with LF1 tires the other day. They're fast, but they're fun. And Kevin can get DS tires, so that's a good thing too.
Yep.
Okay.
I need to try some DS tires. I have the pink ones, the LF3s.
Okay.
But they're pretty beat up, so I don't know if I want to take them to the track. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I guess, Judd, do you have any questions for Chris?
Oh.
Okay, think about that for a little bit. Chris?
Yeah.
You were talking about how it's just like your perspectives of being new, starting from nothing, and kind of coming up where you are right now. What are your opinions, or what was your thought process behind that topic? Or let's talk about it.
Well, if you're a Portland local, just get your rear to the track. You know, if you have a car and you want to get better, you know, there's no substitute for just putting in the time. I mean, it's like any challenging discipline. You just got to do the work.
Chris, he's talking to you. Other Chris. Or Momo.
Momo.
Momo. So just get there, get to the track, do the work.
Do the work. Ask the questions. You know, that's what I did. First thing I did when I got to the track, there was somebody there that looked like they had a bunch of cars and looked like they knew what they were doing. The first thing I did before I ever put my car on the track was walked over and said, "I'm completely new. What's the etiquette? You know, what am I not supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?" You know, that was the very first thing that I did. He said, you know, try to stay out of the way. in a very nice way.
Was it Judd?
No, it wasn't Judd.
You know who it was. You know who it was.
Oh,
yeah. So,
really? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like in the world of those that we don't talk of type of?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to respect the place where you're doing anything, and drift is really no different. You know, it's the same way when you're snowboarding and you're in the park, you know, and you're new. You really got to try to make sure that you're there to have fun, and so is everybody else, and everybody's going to be looking out for you. But you got to make sure you're staying, you know, out of the way of people who know what they're doing, because it's bad for them and it's bad for you. So I mean, you know, there's definitely room for everybody, and everybody wants to be helpful, but like respecting everybody else and the track is definitely some protocol. But that was my experience. Get to the track, do the work, ask the questions. Everybody there is super helpful. I can't tell you how many people have helped me with my car. I mean, Judd has helped me, John, Alex, Logan, Charlie. I think everybody has had their hands on my car at one point or another. It's just a really cool scene where everybody's super helpful. And so you're not going to, I mean, maybe you can ask stupid questions, and I'm sure I have, but it never felt like that. Nobody ever treated me like I was asking anything stupid. But you can't ask stupid questions if you're not there to do it. You just got to get your rear end there and do the work.
How long did it take you to like feel comfortable on a Friday? Because if those of you who are watching, like, if you don't know, Friday nights is what we call drift to midnight. So that's usually like the big day where everyone's there, like usually around 20 people at least, going upwards of like 40 people, 40, 50. And it's a race day at the same time, so it's pretty packed anyway. But the track is hot. The track is busy. So with that, how long did it take you to get comfortable enough to the point where you could be there without being intimidated?
That's a super good question, because I can't really put a real definitive time on it, but I bet I was going to the track for maybe several months before I felt comfortable on a Friday. Just being completely new to RC in general, and then to drift specifically, it like you said, it's a lot of people, and the train is long sometimes, and there's a lot of people that are really proficient and they're really moving, and there's not always a good place to get out of their way, and so that's you got to do it. You got to get out of the way sometimes.
Right. And at least now there's quite a few different places to pull off on the track, so it's not like you can't.
The new layout is a lot more conducive for getting out of the way when you need to.
Yep. DJ, yeah, yesterday there were like no more pit spots, 2 people in some spots. Yep. That is true.
I was sharing with Logan yesterday when he showed up.
For sure.
It got busy. It'll get busy like that when he has those big race nights, so don't be scared. Just if you don't have any room to pit and you see that I have 4 or 5 cars scattered across my pit, tell me to throw some on the ground and let you pit there.
Yeah, yeah, because technically those pit spaces are big enough for two people like easily.
Oh yeah, 100%. Those two front ones are just ginormous. That's why I try to get there decent amount early enough to be able to get those two spots.
Yes, I had a few cars in Austin's pit space. And
I mean, honestly, if you don't have like a lot of stuff, wouldn't even technically pit there. But me and Austin have been pitting in those two spots for who knows how long.
Cool.
I mean, you were camped there for a while. I mean, your bag just never left. You just put it all in and push it underneath the end.
Oh yeah, no, pretty much, yeah, 100%.
Don't do that. Anywhere, don't do that.
There, I don't
mean,
mind. I've left my stuff there overnight.
Yeah, don't do
Yeah,
that.
and he was opening up the next day anyway, so he's going to be the first one there to unlock the joint.
I mean, sure,
Yeah.
but like even I fell into that whole idea because I'd leave my stuff not at Northwest but at Santiam. Basically, I'd leave my stuff there all the time, and it was cool because it was there and ready to go. But at the same time, there's just that unknowingness of if you're not there, then something can happen. And
Yeah, true. I mean, honestly, if somebody really needed my stuff more than me, then it is what it is. It's just material items.
yeah,
But there's cameras all over that place, so
but they
not
can
really
only
too
do
worried.
so much, right?
yeah, no, it's 100%.
Anyway, be responsible.
I'm not responsible. You know me.
I mean, okay. Because so Timberline has like ski and board like a service, right? Like you can take them to it, they lock up your board for you, right?
Yeah.
Hoodoo doesn't have that. You just like stick your board in like a mound of snow and then you just go walk off. Luckily, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't use Ski Keep. I keep it's cable snowboard lock, and it's metal and cable, so it can't just be broken or cut. And I keep it on my belt loop, and I just lock our boards to the fence.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, like
It's a super cheap insurance policy because snowboards do get stolen.
for sure.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Like I would always take my board back to the rack and then lock them up and then go do whatever in the lodge and then come back. But yeah,
For sure.
except my cousin has my rack and he's in Yakima. I need to go. Well, whatever. He's probably using it more than I am anyway. Okay. You guys, if you have any questions that are drift related or whatever, really, throw them up in chat, throw them in Discord. We'll be heading over to Discord pretty soon here. Yeah. Judd, any questions for Chris?
Not really. I talk to him every day at the track, so I'm like,
Okay.
I got a question for Judd. Judd, I heard that you were going to be interested in judging the events instead of competing. Is that true?
yeah. So I volunteered to judge. I'll judge, but I also kind of want to compete just because of what will be announced on Monday over it.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
I can't give any details just because it's not my place to say. But
Got to build that suspense.
yeah, I mean that's like I don't want to give away all the news.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was
Especially
just
for-
super curious. I definitely would like to see you mix it up a little bit. It's always a good time.
Oh, I'll definitely dabble in. I think we're gonna try and do like half and half. Do a few comps with somebody else judging, and then I'll judge a couple comps or switch back and forth. Kevin hasn't really announced what he's doing about judges. One day, a long time ago, he brought up how some buggy guys learn how to judge the zones and have them judge so that all the drift guys can drift. If he does that, cool. There will be zero bias, whether or not, like, somebody playing favors, for instance, or anything like that. So it'll just be like buggy guys that already hate the drift guys judging. I mean,
All of
like,
us, we all get zeros.
no, pretty much. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be that bad because they come from the world of competition, not judging competition, but racing aspect.
Mhm.
So they
In my
should be able to.
experience, judging is, if it's consistently bad, at least it's consistent.
Yeah, if it's consistently bad, that's one thing. It's like judging by any means is not easy for any
No, it's
aspect
not.
of any sport. You're always going to have people like me who don't agree quite with everything that people say, but that's one
What
main
about
reason
you,
why I
Adam?
don't compete.
What about me?
You could you ever fill a judging shoe?
I'm always happy to give my 2 cents. I do not prefer to judge by any means.
Yeah, that's a tough gig.
Yeah, it just puts me in a wrong place that I would rather not be in. And honestly, competition isn't my gig anyway. So yeah, if I'm there on the competition days, it'll probably just be like either interviewing or maybe even live streaming the actual competition.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I liked
Yeah.
when you guys live streamed it, but next time I want you guys to like not be quiet.
We didn't know what to do that day because we were like, we feel bad for them for being loud. But now that we saw it at Super G and how they do it, like in terms of how loud they are or like the actual commentary,
Right.
as far as that goes, yeah, we can totally
Get
do
some
that.
color commentary going.
I mean, I'm one for like, if it's dead quiet, you know the whole room's like watching you. So it's
Oh,
like that last comp when I somehow got top qualifier, Charlie came clutch and gave me his headphones, and I was bumping Timmy Trumpet in my head, just listening to some techno, and laid down a good line. If it was dead silent like everybody else's, then no, I would hit the wall or something. I need
Yeah.
background music.
headphones.
Yep.
Or we actually play
Headphones.
music.
Or no, we will play music. I mean, there's only a handful of people who prefer quiet, but they also have headphones with noise canceling. So if you like it quiet, I recommend getting some noise canceling headphones and have your peace and quiet.
I'm kind of
The rest of us
surprised.
will party.
I'm kind of surprised crowd hype isn't a little bit more of a thing. I noticed that it's almost like golf quiet.
Oh, I know, right? You don't like the golf
no,
clap?
exactly. I just don't like awkward silence anywhere.
I like a good hype, you know? I want to get everybody get stoked.
Exactly. That's why I play music every Friday.
It's good. I like the music.
Yeah,
I mean, it
vibe.
might not be like everybody's choice of music, but
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like it gets to the point where it doesn't matter as long as it's there.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
It's more background noise than anything.
Yeah, I mean, at PDX, it's not even the music that like annoys me. It's how hot it gets
Oh man.
and like how loud. Because
That's just Kevin being cheap because he's got 4 brand new air conditioner units.
that's fine, right? It's fine. I just need to wear shorts again.
Yeah,
He eventually did turn the AC on last night, but man, I was already pretty sweaty.
Right.
I was dying yesterday. I came straight from work, so I'm in my work clothes for obviously colder weather,
Mhm.
and yeah, normally I bring shorts. I just ran out of the house yesterday morning, yesterday morning, and got like 3/4 of the way to work, and I'm like, oh, I forgot shorts, but
I mean,
was not planning on.
in your defense, it is winter, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
For the most part.
I like
but
wearing.
when you have 60 plus people in a building, it gets hot.
Running cars that get up to 150 degrees on their motor temps. Yeah,
Yeah. Bunch of little mini heaters.
pretty much.
Pretty
Pretty
much.
much. Okay,
And
so
everybody's got them dang fans.
there are a few questions in chat. Let's go ahead and check those out. I'll just kind of yell them out if they're pertinent. Brian says Rev D Gyro or GYD 550. That's a tough cookie. That's a tough question to answer because everyone has their own preference, right? Okay, actually, Judd just put in a 550 the other day after him being like anti 550 for a while. So Judd, what is your opinion on a 550?
If you don't like to tune, don't get a 550.
Yep.
I couldn't figure it out. Charlie grabbed it. He got it somewhat dialed in, and then the servo horn fell off, and me just throwing it back together, tightened it down too far, then it would not work. And then Adam came over and looked at it and realized as he's tuning it that the servo was getting hot, and we figured out that it was too tight. But other than that, as long as you go by the book, like you were saying, Adam, just do everything step by step. The thing I like about the 550 over the Revox, because I'm Revox fan, I love the Revox. But the 550, it's when you're tandeming, how do I explain? When you're tandeming, it's more snappy so that when you're chasing it, you can be right back no matter what. It's just whap, whap, whap. Like the tail slide speed being able to be adjustable is a whole nother game. But I still haven't figured it out 100%. I'll do some more testing on Sunday. But for right now, I am borrowing DJ's 550, and I bought another 550 last night. So I have two 550s. Gonna try them in two different cars, see how it is.
So I run 550s only in the strict sense that the way that I tune my cars, the 550s do the best work for me, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was tuning Chris's car the other night, my main complaint, even having the Rev D gyro at profile 1, is that like the car would still transition pretty slow, right? We turned down the gyro and it was a little bit better, but it was still slow for me. So that's kind of where I switched back to the 550. I did give it a try. But it just comes down to, like, if I wanted it to work, I would have to change the way that I set up my car a little bit different. That's all.
Yeah.
But Judd said it the best earlier. Like, if you just want something simple, stick with a V4, stick with a Rev D. Either one is great. Rev D, I think, is a little bit a step above just because you have the push button profile adjustment.
That and the Rev D itself, it's if you have a Rev D servo, I've never used one with the Yokomo, but if you have Rev D servo, it's basically meant for it. Just way, I sold all my V4s. I had just got one yesterday and it's for sale as well. I can't drive a V4 anymore.
I think V4s actually have a little bit more kind of aggression in it, more so than the Rev Ds do. Rev Ds are very consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. That's that, and the modes that you have choosing I'm a fan of mode 2. Some people are a fan of mode 4, 5, and 6. 2 just seems to be the snappiest.
Mm-hmm.
I did end up.
What
Yeah,
driver do you have now, Chris?
it's the Revox. I did end up running Profile 2 last night for like the last 45 minutes, and I felt like what you're saying is pretty accurate. That's what felt after going through all of them. I felt like 2 was the most aggressive transition wise, snap wise.
I mean,
Yeah.
then there's still Profile 1, but you changed it from that.
I did.
You know,
I did.
I have not even used Profile 1 yet.
I think on my SX3 that I had when I was doing the testing for it, I went straight to 1, and that was it. I tried all of it, but 1 is where I settled. Okay, moving on. Christian, do you guys know if there's some kind of S-Bus that works on the Hobbywing systems? No. The closest thing that we have is telemetry, and that's either telemetry by the app, or supposedly Hobbywing has a little thing that Super G was selling that's supposed to be able to get telemetry to like a 7px or a 10px. Either one, I think. But when you look at the documentation for that, and Cameron bought one in hopes that he would be able to get that working, but if you look at the documentation, it's for a completely different ESC, not for the DX10 or the whatever XT10.
Oh, it's not even for that?
No, it's for some like water cooled boat ESC or something like that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so telemetry only as far as that goes. Honestly, like, I do like having the ability to tune my ESC just from the radio, like at a whim, right? But at the same time, the ESC is going to be more of a kind of like set it and forget it type of thing. Once you find the right setting, then you'll probably just leave it there, especially if like you're only going to one place to drive. Dark like to be super quiet, really? Huh.
True.
Like, are we talking about like super quiet, like awkward gyms, like Samaritan gym where I'm at? Like you walk in and everyone has their headphones on, so all you hear is like the equipment moving. It's the weirdest and most awkward thing in the world for gyms, because you want the vibe, right? Like I'd take music and just play music, do something. And okay. Best starter car. Yep, Joey's got it right. RDX. RDX is the easiest car to...
2 cents.
RDX is the best car to get the right idea of what driving should be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a good starter car, but at the same time, after owning one and then going back to, say, a Shark or an MD1, I think everybody should start off with your basic RD 1.0. Just get it, build it, tune it, struggle for a month or so.
And then get an RDX.
No, because the whole mission statement of RevD is so that people can get started into drifting the right way.
Sure.
That's the whole entire thing.
And I think that's in a nutshell. You know, do it the right way. You know.
Right. Yes. And there are so many different answers to the right way. Like, DJ competed at Super G with much more electronics. And so often we're like, oh, you gotta have the hobby wing stuff, or you gotta have the AccuVent stuff, or you gotta have like not a race motor in your setup, right? But time and time again, like, people prove everybody wrong. Like Josh Remick, he's the owner of East Bay Sliders. Yeah. He competed with a Reef servo and gyro. So completely.
Really?
Yeah. The LP 299, I think is what it is. Like their little low profile servo.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Kenny was using a Reefs servo until just like a week ago, and he won 2 Tandem Tuesdays. So, I mean, it can be done.
Mm-hmm. I wish.
Kenny was running a Reef servo?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Last week, he bought a Rev D servo, and he's been running a Reefs this whole time.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
And the Reefs are programmable too. The only thing that I wish that they would take care of is if they had better like adjustable endpoint, more like how Futaba does theirs, because it's just one arc. But I guess when you think about it, you don't have that option on a Yokomo. You don't have that option on Rev D either. You have trim on a Rev D, but that's about it, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Brian again. People say to run Futaba servo only with a GYD 550, and some people say you can use a Rev D or Yokomo servo. So, yes and yes. The reason why that Futaba is going to be best with the GYD 550 is because it's Futaba working with Futaba. Of course, it's going to work better with like same electronics, right? But there's no reason why you can't use it, even though that the manual says only use Futaba digital servos. We're in that generation where it's only digital servos and analog servos are like no go. The other part of it is that the way that Futaba does their things is that as far as like dampening comes into play, because that's the main difference from servo to servo. Futaba allows you to change all of that because of S-Bus, as long as it's their CT series or their CD series. But say take a Yokomo or a Rev D servo, where you have the option to program those, but you can't turn it off. Or like they're just slightly different. So usually in any case scenario, if you're running a 550, just turn the damper all the way to 0, because your servo is going to be doing that for you. Or if you need a little bit more I guess twitchiness or aggression out of the servo, or coming from the gyro, turn the dampener up ever so slightly, like within 5 basically. And then it'll pan out. It'll make the car feel weird, like it's a completely different style of driving, but it should be, well, tunable to however you wish. So yeah. Gear up 2 teeth for what, Chris? For your 10.5 or for the 8.5? Like when it's your turn to run a comp dark. Oh yeah, we have that same problem here, where it's super quiet at competitions, and it's definitely a mood killer. Like, if you're trying to attract people from the outside world to say like, hey, this is cool, the way that we do competitions is not cool.
Oh no,
like we need more.
We'll be changing that.
Right. We need some more. We need the Mexican or the Japanese announcers, because those guys are crazy.
Well, let's find some Japanese announcers.
I mean, Hot Pockets. Ryan Rivas has offered to do some commentary for us, so that'd be pretty interesting.
That would be very interesting.
Like, he does really awesome with races, so it'd be interesting to see what he'd come up with for drift.
Right.
Momo, I think that's what people need to be prepared when asking. Oh, wow, I can't read. I think that's what people need to be prepared for when asked those questions. People are too quick to brag or boast about how much money it costs, and it could scare people away who want to get started. Oh, 100%. Our hobby is not a cheap hobby. Even with an RDX, even with an RDS ready to run, that's still $400 for a car that you can drive on a flat surface. Whereas you can still get like a $400 Traxxas and go everywhere with it, right?
To a point.
I mean, jumping is way more entertaining if you don't know how to drift, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's hop in. I want you guys to turn into some judges right now. And we're going to hop into roast my rig.
Don't forget to change your color in the background.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Let's just go for a solid color. Let's go green. We'll go green.
Green it is.
Okay, let me pop the roast my rig thing up here. Now, Chris, do you have a separate device that you're also watching on? Or is it just that one phone?
I just got it on the phone, but I got the Discord up.
Okay. So you know. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Here we go.
Where are we starting?
So this was from last week. Judd's impossible color to replicate.
Hey, I'll figure it out. It was like 15 of these and like 15 of the other color.
Okay, so
I'll never be able to replicate it.
Is this the purple Camry looking thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an 8.6, but it looks like somebody barfed all over it. the front's not bad. It's like a Camry front end swap, but the rear end is absolutely absurd with the little wings that stick out an inch behind the car for absolutely no reason.
Okay, so what do we got here? Let's see. So this is crawler vibes. I don't know what it is. It is... Apparently it's a D5 front end with a crawler rear. So this isn't even Jose's. This is just probably something that he found. Probably.
Most likely.
Maybe. So we got a D5 front end. And that's a OMG servo from back in the day.
This is really something, you know. You got to just. I would be super curious to see this run.
I mean, if the question is, will it drift? The answer is yes.
Exactly. I want to see it. I'm curious.
The answer.
Whoever owns this,
it's got a crawler transmission.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a 3D printed chassis.
Yeah. Looks to be. Like, will it drift? Yeah. The popular chassis to convert is the Tamiya CC01. There is a company called Metal Garage, and they actually make a conversion kit for it, which is pretty cool. And then that's what it looks like drifting. It's kind of funny because like this, I wouldn't think would fit underneath a truck bed.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But hey, if it works, it works.
Well, yeah, I could see that because
the deck is pretty flat.
Yeah,
it's low.
It's probably not an actual truck bed. It's probably just flat on the back of it.
Oh,
a delete. Yeah.
Yep. Kind of like Charlie's truck.
Yeah.
It's just like cabin and flat on the back.
Yeah.
Charlie, post your truck so we can roast it. I know you're in here somewhere.
We got Slide and Dirty coming in.
Slide and Dirty.
with a shark, it looks like.
Okay, I
Yeah,
like that carbon fiber.
it's
Honestly,
interesting.
all
Yeah,
carbon fiber, everything.
I like the weave. I like the weave in it.
that's like a normal weave. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah, it's a normal. That's what carbon fiber looks like.
Yeah, it
Isn't
just
there
looks.
a weave?
It looks
Isn't there
more.
a weave carbon fiber that's a little different?
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
there is.
there's plenty of different ways you can do carbon fiber, but like this is pretty standard. But it is making a already heavy chassis even lighter, so that's good. Lance weighed his Midnight Shark the other day. It was 13 something, 13 and change. So
Mine came out to 14.
yeah, mine's in the 14 world as well, 1400.
Yeah, I think it was 14 flat, but I also had the MST SC body on it, so that's a heavy body.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Well, those fans get that weight down.
I can't
Then-
not run my fans.
I mean, so weight is going to be a future topic. We were actually going to talk about it last week, but then we ran out of time because it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So, yeah. And I want to, well, it's Logan's topic, so I want him to weigh in. No pun intended. I want his information, his input on it.
Sure.
Joey, yeah. So we got a Midnight Shark with body with battery. His was like 13 something, like 1328, 1358, somewhere around there. My Shark, with the R-Spec conversion, or Judd's with the Midnight Shark conversion, is a like mine is 1470, somewhere around there. With the
Also, yours is
original,
a lot heavier.
which with the original chassis, it was like 1580. So we're shedding lots of weight. And honestly, if you are thinking about a Shark, it's like, don't just go out and buy a Shark. Don't go buy a final form unless that's your jam, but go buy like whatever deck that you're interested in, and then just go buy the transmission and the DDSS. I think that's a better way, rather than like shelling out for the deck that you're going to replace anyway.
Otherwise, you end up like me, and I have a whole final form kit just sitting in a box.
So this is interesting. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing 2 sets of battery mount thingies. So that's a little bit interesting.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Whose is this?
It's Matt in Discord. Then it's a Hydra. Oh, he's got the fancy, expensive titanium screws in there. I don't know what it is. I don't want to spend like $160 just for a screw kit.
I won't do it.
I'll pass on that.
I run stainless. It's good enough for me.
It's not even about weight for me. It's just They are
That's the one thing I was talking to Logan about when he gets his titanium screw kit, because he will not build that MD2 without it. I told him I want him to weigh each stack of screws and see how many grams you actually lose.
right. Yeah, it's so minimal. It's
I'm guessing like a whole chassis, maybe like 5 grams. They're not like that much lighter in my eyes.
Joey, most current chassis, including the RDX, are going to be around the 3070 weight bias, at least from what I've seen. 4060 was like when original YD2S or like YD2 Plus, like that was that generation, but more so we're seeing 3070 cars right now. 3367. There you go. but his car is light. I don't know if this is with body or without, but 1228, which
So that's still not even comp legal, and where
It's-
we're from, anyway.
it's comp legal. The only
Has to
comp
be. I thought it had to be 1,300 grams minimum.
no, so that's RCDC rules. No one in the States has decided to want to run that, as far as I know of.
I thought that was the Super G rules.
No, the Super G rules was 1,100 grams over the rear axle, and that's been the pretty much the standard rule for who knows how long now.
I thought it was 1,100 rear, 13 total was minimum.
I don't think there is a minimum.
I think it was 13.
Anyone, if you know the answer, chime in.
Because Logan has his current chassis down to 1301. I could look it up. I don't know how to. If I leave this, will it exit chat?
It's not too important. I'm sure someone can find it.
Yeah, I'll have it all done before first comp. Because obviously we're going to base the rules off of Super G rules. I mean, it's kind of the standard for most of us, anyways.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Consistent. That way people aren't building stuff that's too heavy or too light.
This guy did the ninja shoelace thing, which I do think is cool.
Oh, that is cool.
And it's not actually that difficult. It just takes time to do.
I don't have the patience for it.
I like that.
Okay. So someone did chime in.
Yeah,
1,300 minimum for complete chassis, body, and battery.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm safe.
As you're the one who was teching everybody.
Oh no, all of my cars are safe.
Oh yeah, no, mine are more than safe.
Okay,
I
Chris.
do need to weigh this one tomorrow. So Austin, you better be there.
Okay, Chris. Tell me a little bit about this Amazon van, please.
Hey.
Yeah, so I got that body, and I had this vision, and it just started turning out.
Now, was it because you saw the DHL van first?
I already had the van, and so I was already gonna do this, but I told Judd when he pulled that out, I was like, man, now I have to stop procrastinating and actually get this done.
But here's the real kicker. So you have the real thing.
Yeah, it's the actual.
Yeah.
See, but side by side, I could not tell the difference. Like they even have the same stickers.
Right, but the body.
But the body is different on the sides.
Yeah, it's not bulging because it was warped.
Yeah, no, 100. That's the only thing. The only difference I could tell was the size of how they bulge on mine.
I mean, there's still a half a dozen body pieces to that thing that I haven't painted and put on it. I mean, it's got like bumper overs and fender flares and all kinds of stuff.
That'll be cool once you get those on. If you do those.
Chris, are you an Android guy or an iPhone guy?
I am an Android.
What settings were you using for your photo here?
Ooh, good question. So I just went in and I can't even remember what it's called. It's just an effect to blur the background. You're talking about for the first picture and the third picture and fourth, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a setting in the menu. I just clicked it. It looked super cool, so I took the picture.
There you go. What's the story on the Subaru here?
The Subaru?
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, so here's his real car. And now let's go back to the... Where do you want me to go?
It's pretty roastable, but that was the first body that I ever painted. So that was like last December, January-ish.
Okay. So my question is, are those stickers that you applied to replicate from what you have on your car, or is it just like well, what did you do? What did you
So
do?
it is just a vinyl sticker that I tediously plucked all of those little pieces out of to get it to apply. Yeah, it's die cut. So I thought it turned out pretty good. It matches the real thing pretty well. It's just the paint on that particular body didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but I was already pretty deep.
Very cool. I mean, if this is your first one, not very many people would go that far for their first body. So that's cool.
No, my first body was really bad. It's still on the wall.
It's still on the wall.
Oh yeah.
What wheels are on your car, Chris?
Those are they're 18 by 18 by an 11 and a half, negative 26. So it's pretty massive offset on my real car.
Right. But it's 11 inches. I mean, is it really? Yeah, I don't know.
So that body kit on my car is a 60 over fender. So
okay,
you got to fill it up.
Right. Because wide body life.
Yeah.
So this comes from Merc Dirk. I'm getting like Elliot vibes for some reason.
It's the wheels and the camber.
Right.
It's all about that camber life.
So that car surprisingly doesn't have that much camber. Well, I mean, it kind of does, but not a lot. Compared to the static guys, this is not camber.
Oh wait, is Merc Dirk Elliot? No, Merc Dirk Elliot's like E-Town guy, right?
Something like that. I don't know who Merc Dirk is. I didn't even know who Bill Cosby was until last night.
No. Okay, we've got another MC1 from Jake.
Oh, look. I had that. I owned that for about 10 minutes.
Oh, what?
Last night.
Jake, what are you doing? Is this is not an LTS, but it has everything LTS. This is his like weird YD2S thing.
YD2.
It's
Is that an S?
It's an S with like the arrow under effects kit thing.
Yeah, that arrow is really cool, actually.
If you guys are wondering about like anything high CG, like I do recommend these knuckles. These knuckles are pretty cool. The Yokomo LTS ones. Yeah, YD2S plus LTS.
Oh, it'll be off since tomorrow.
That was that confirmed?
Yeah, he just said it. He told me earlier
Right on.
that he is buying it. He's selling his high-low and buying this tomorrow.
Oh, the infamous Boso van.
Man, I got to see this up close yesterday for the first time. This thing is amazing.
Really? Only for the first time?
I mean, I've seen it at
them.
I've seen it at your guys' events, but I'm not up close. Like I actually got to like look underneath the body at that elaborate light setup. I mean, this is just a pretty cool build. I could never roast this.
I think Joey.
There's nothing to roast on it.
I think Joey from the north, from RCFC, has one as well. It's purple, and oddly enough, it's kind of like the same. Aside from Boso, but like he did kind of like the same type of things, design choices. Yeah,
I definitely want to find one. I found one, but I want to find a clear one, but that's probably never going to happen.
Oh,
I found two of them. They're in New Zealand, but they're white, pre-painted.
so underneath that van is this. Oh, excuse me. It is a Yusukani PDSL. Yeah, PDSL. So low motor. And it drives really, really well. For how big it is, it drives really, really well. Here's my contribution today. Here's the old. Here's the new. And I kind of messed up on the roof. Well, I didn't mess up. I made some prep mistakes. So, yeah. I should have scrubbed. But overall, this body, it's by far the most complex MST body that I've put together. It is good though. Like it like all the pieces that you need to screw on are pretty easily like ready to go. All these holes that are marked on the body, like where to drill, were marked almost exact. There's no like weird body flex or anything like that. They are marked and matched to the pieces that need to go there. It went together really easy. It took me all day. I don't know why it took me all day. Maybe it's because I was making chicken noodle soup in the middle of that. But yeah. I would recommend this body if you're thinking about it. It is on the more expensive side of MST bodies. It's $86 or something like that. And then the only places that you can get it, yeah. But the only place that you can get it, unless you know someone, is like RC Mart or I bought mine through Asia Tees actually. So expensive shipping if you don't want to wait. So mine still ended up costing like $120.
It's not really bad for that body though.
No, not at all. And the fact that it's one piece,
yeah,
like really,
exactly.
really kicks it. I will say that compared to the Addiction body, it is wider. It looks wider because it's more stretched to fit like not the wheelbase, but just the way that MST does their bodies, because they like having equal numbers on the front to rear.
Oh, okay.
So the front's
So
like
how wide is it?
200, 198, somewhere around there.
Okay, so it's now that I'm not final form, I could probably run it.
It's 198 front to rear.
Okay. When I had the final form kit, the minimum was like 205.
I mean, but now you have Rev D parts.
Yeah, so now I can adjust it.
Won't fit my shark. Big sad. I mean, it was the front uppers that were the main limiting factor, right?
No, it's actually because of the rear toe blocks are freaking 3 feet wide.
Well, can't you shrink the arms though?
Although they shrunk, the wheelbase was like 205. Or the track width was 205.
I'd want to investigate that because that doesn't seem right to me. But that's besides the point. Here's Lance's van in a full Boso mode. And he did all of the lights himself. Like that's all him. Cheddar Pud. Oh, wait, we've already seen these. Oh no. This is with updated electronics.
Is this a low motor RMX?
I think this is what he started with. Because it has... Yeah. So, this is what DJ started with. Like, weird... The R12 and the, like, Power HD gyro, I think it is. Probably with a 3PV. And then he upgraded to all AccuVent stuff.
And full beast mode.
Yep. Still on that buggy life with the 5 mil to 4 mil conversion, though.
He'll be that for life.
No, because he just needs to make the move over to 5 mil. That's all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you can get the Yeah Racing battery adapters or battery plugs, which you can just change in.
Yeah. Or just solder on some 5 mil to his buggy and call it good. Or drift car.
What do we got from Sky? We got a RDX Kansai plate. Wait, I swear we've seen this before. Did I go backwards? No, this was today. What do we got? Kansai. Is this version 1 or version 2? I think it's version 2 because it has both the RCO and the DS Racing badge on it.
Do you have to say one thing about it?
What?
Why is half of it purple and half of it's red?
That's a roast.
That bugs me. That bugs me right there.
I'm an all matcher guy myself. I like to match it up.
It's a V1 Kansai deck. Okay. You guys have clearly not seen any of my like monstrosity chassis then.
No, I've seen your monstrosities, but that's a bunch of different random stuff.
What do we got? This is your MC1.
All matching. See, there we go.
It's so much red. Oh, nope, it's not matching.
No, I have a purple fan on it.
You gotta, dude, get rid of that. Come on.
It's not even that.
Right.
It's because
No, I don't.
It's because original Rev
It's
D
all
parts.
matching.
Original Rev D parts, they didn't opt to go for like beveled edges, which is why we're seeing like all the parts being re-released as SC edition, as the shiny edition. It's like Pokemon cards.
No,
right?
Osmo, it's not too much red.
It's a
Just
lot
the
of
right
red.
amount.
That's a lot of red.
It's perfect. It's
The final
beautiful.
form
Look
is
at
a
it.
lot of red too.
I
final
think
form
it's
was
just enough
garbage.
red.
MD1. Oh, Judd got to finally experience the MD1 slop.
Dude, why is there so much slop in everything?
I mean, okay, that's true, but more specifically, the pillow balls.
Oh yeah, the whole front and rear are just, you can literally move them like 3/16 of an inch back and forth, no problem.
Yep.
It bugs me.
John, is MC1 falling off? I see a lot of them for sale. I think it's more the idea that it's like 2 generations old now. People want new stuff. Triggered with mismatched colors. Yes. But as long as it's cool, like I'm down for it. Like mismatched colors are fine. Like so I had it was a combination of a lot of different things. So it was a hot bodies TCFD transmission that was stacked on itself. So it was kind of like the high motor position of a Galm of what I have right now. But it had a YD2 front end on it and had overdose parts, MST parts, HPI parts. So like nothing matched, but it was cool. Oh, Brian is Sky. Gotcha. Hey.
Oh, okay.
What
Okay,
port
now
is that?
who's in chat with my name? Because I didn't post anything.
Getting into some snow gear.
Yeah, this looks like Cheddar Pud. That is a battalion. I believe that is a fun kink.
Good boards.
And he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe those are Burton. Are those cartels? What
If
does
you can
Cheddar Pud
identify
say?
that from that picture, that's doing some work.
I'd be willing to bet that those are Burtons for sure. I think those are probably cartels.
They look like cartels.
This is definitely a battalion, and that graphic looks like the Fun King graphic, if I had to guess.
You are right, according to DJ. Good job.
Woo!
Good job.
Somebody knows their boards. That looks just like my board. Except
Okay.
I don't have full graphic on it.
You know what I realized about winter sports, or at least skiing versus snowboarding? Snowboarding is way cheaper.
Is way better.
It's cheaper too. My gosh.
It's way better.
Like a pair of
Wait,
skis.
what do you? How much are skis?
I was gonna say, what does a pair of skis run?
A good pair of skis. Like if I were to go and buy an equivalent set of skis to my snowboard, it's like $700-$800. Like
That's the
easy.
same thing as a snowboard.
Okay,
I was gonna say that's pretty equivalent.
yeah, but my price range, right? Because my Jones board that I have is a $600 board. That's pretty spendy for where I'd like to be at, to be honest. So that's just me. So shelling out like $700-$800 for skis, and that's not including bindings. But yeah, so is life.
Snow sports are expensive.
Now,
They're so much fun.
would you call it like as a barrier to entry for like not doing stupid things, or because we do stupid things?
You mean snowboarding cost-wise, a barrier to entry being the cost?
Oh no, snow sports in general. I mean, I love it. There's no barrier. It's just yeah.
It's I mean, if you're gonna go season pass, it's definitely it's a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be sure you're gonna do it, because season passes over the last 20 years have just gotten ridiculous.
Well, even normal passes. Judd was saying that Timberline passes were like $145 just for a day pass.
Yep.
Man, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, and if season pass is only just what? How much was season pass this year for you, Judd?
$950.
And that was like
for
preseason.
T-line?
That's for the Fusion, so T-line ski bowl.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes it way more worth it. Because the season pass didn't go up in price, whereas daily passes did substantially.
Season pass went up $150 this year. It was $800 last year.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
Then I don't know what I'm thinking about. Maybe it's just because I didn't go last year. I am.
But we also didn't get nothing added, and traffic just gets worse and worse and worse, especially since ODOT just released that they are not taking care of the roads this year.
Oh. So what happens then?
Bikes that are
Wait,
snow
they're not
tires
gonna
and not gonna
plow?
drive.
Yeah,
They
like,
are only plowing what is necessary due to fuel price and cutbacks. So we thought last year was bad. This year's gonna be even worse.
I mean, the trip from Meadows at 4:00 in the afternoon to government camp takes 15 minutes. On a weekend at 4:00, it takes 3 hours.
Oh yeah, there was a couple days last year that we knew we should have left Timberline parking lot earlier, but it was a powder day. You know how it gets. It's lap after lap after lap, and next thing you know, it's, hey, we're closing the lifts, and 5 hours later, you're driving down Keyline Road, and it takes 5 hours to get to Govey.
is that what?
Yeah,
Maybe that's why I just didn't
That was
go.
a bad night. That was a really bad night.
Man, okay,
We're
but
extremely fortunate. So we shuttle up and we just ride the Glade home on those days.
Yeah, those days, I'm just gonna come hang out at your house.
man, okay, like driving home just last night from Portland back to Lebanon, right? there are and we're just talking about ODOT, right? Like there are points of I-5 that just they don't exist. The lanes don't exist because of either water refraction, water glare. I'm like, holy crap. I'm on like brand new tires, pretty much a brand new car. I shouldn't be having these issues.
Well, last night was horrible. Literally drove home
Yeah.
at like 45 miles an hour last night.
And like it wasn't even, the rain wasn't even like that bad, right? It was just the road. The road was bad, not the rain. Rain was fine.
So there just was no lines.
There were lines. It's just because of water refraction, it didn't exist. Let's see. We got, well, Brian. Yeah, Brian. And John coming in from Corpus Christi. Rack City.
Dang, Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
Judd threw up his whips down there.
Those are my 3 main boards for the last couple of years. I want a new board this year. I don't know what to get yet.
Well, Snowvana is going to end tomorrow.
No, that's fine. I'll order online. Probably going to be another battalion.
You got a battalion right there. You kind of got the full quiver. You got the proto for, when you want to go throw down big.
Yeah, the proto,
is that a proto slinger or just a proto?
It's just a prototype.
Prototype too.
Yeah. I want to say 3 years old now, I think. The PB&J, that was my first Noodle Park board. That was a fun board. I learned a lot in the park that year. And then last year,
did you compete in the party wave?
Oh yeah, I completely sucked at it, but it was fun. Oh yeah, dude, we were there. I was hungover, still drunk. Party wave. Come on now.
Sierra actually won that event.
Oh really?
Yeah, she got the custom made board from that event. It's super sick.
Oh heck yeah! I wish she was still around so you could do that again. That was a fun event.
What bindings are on the board on the far right?
Those are some ancient bindings. Those are flow step-ins. I'm not a fan of them, but they work very well. They work good. Like they're easy.
Since this is roast my rig and he put flows on there, yeah, that's a roast.
I mean, okay.
No, those were bindings that I don't remember where I got those. Bought those years and years and years ago.
I mean, I have flows on mine.
That board is now out of commission. That's my when it snows in Portland. Kick in, go hit the skate park, and have fun.
Well, okay.
What's behind it?
What's behind it?
Yeah.
My woman's board is behind that one. I'll take a picture.
So I only have flows because I thought it was going to be easier, but in the end, it turns out that it's not any easier. It's just as much work.
Yeah, and the technical response you get from your board from flows is not as good as a traditional.
I don't know.
So Chris, you'll know this board. This thing is ancient.
Oh, so I will know it because it's ancient. Wow. Tell me I'm old without telling me I'm old, bro.
No, you've just been riding snowboards for a long time. You probably know this board.
Okay, while he's doing that, we're gonna trump on here.
All right, cool.
Is this another? This is what body is this? Oh, this is a Judd body. Oh, look, that's so meta. With the stream being in the background.
Wait, I can see myself. What is this? Is this an S13? I can't tell.
This is my buddy Benny's body. I couldn't find a body for this new chassis, so I just messaged him tonight and was like, "Hey, can I use your body?" And he's like, "Yeah, I forgot about it." He doesn't drift anymore, but
Wait, yeah, I forgot about it. Okay.
Yeah, Kenny mentioned that the other day. It's like, where's Benny been?
he dove deep, and people come and go in the RC world, so I'm used to it. I still talk to him every now and then.
I mean, as
He
far
needs
as
to come
Benny,
over and drift, though.
Benny was the originator of making buddies, right?
Yes, sir.
Make him. Were you there for that, Chris?
Him and the
No.
red cat.
Yeah, apparently they showed up one day, or the story goes as they showed up one day and didn't know how to drive, so they were running into a few people left and right, and every time they did, it was always making buddies.
Making buddies.
Yep.
Yep.
So
But-
they
I
literally
know that.
went to Hobby Town to look and never had bought an RC car before. And they got two red cats and they came straight to the track. Like they didn't even charge batteries, they didn't even open them. They like came straight to the track, threw them down, and was making buddies.
Making buddies. Okay.
So I do know that board. That's a Ride Kink. And is that the one that came with the slime walls, the side walls that are flexible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He sounded so disappointed.
Because it's not flexible.
It's one of those gimmicky things that like go through snowboarding every once in a while. Somebody be like, "This is the new tech," and you're like,
Yeah.
"I wonder if it will work."
Like asymmetrical boards.
It
Yes.
was literally the first snowboard that I rode in like since I started snowboarding. Like I think somebody gave it to me, and that's what I rode. It's a super big board. It's wide. It's tall. It's stiffer than a rock.
It has its purpose. It's honestly not a bad board.
I have never rode it since the first like couple times that I rode it. It's literally just been on right there for 6 or 7 years now.
I mean, it's just an all mountain slayer. It's got a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to go to Product Watch or Roast My Workbench?
Well, remember to change your color of your light if you're going to swap topics.
Well, I mean, we're gonna swap topics, so that's
Go to.
so
Let's go to Product Watch first.
okay. So basically,
Because
Product Watch.
I want to know about the pin conversion for the MD1 is what I want to know about.
Oh, okay. So Product Watch basically consists of a whole bunch of all the RevD stuff, or at least that's the majority of it. Starting here, they're just their axles. I'm not sure what's different about these because these are the same ones that you have, right? Had Judd that Chris has. Chris has them now.
Speaking of that, Chris, next time I see you, make sure you remind me to give you the extra hexes that it came with. Forgot about this.
All right. Well, I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Those
There we go.
look
All right, we're good.
those look different. No, those are the same ones. The ASL.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are the same ones.
Okay, so we'll skip those then. So RevD basically released a whole bunch of products, a whole bunch of aluminum kit for the RDX, so which is really cool to see. I think we're getting to the point where we're starting to see like the VIP level stuff, like getting back up there, because they had the MD1 or the MC1, which is your premium like kit, basically kit conversion, but it was still a YD2 from the very get-go, right? So now we're getting to the point where RDX now has like all their shiny edition aluminum stuff, which is not cheap by any means. On the other hand, though, like there's slide rack here. This is going to be cool. This is going to be a step up from their graphite slide rack. So, is it necessarily not quite, but it is good to see that there is an aluminum variant here. I'm sure that this is going to be sold out like once it lands. So if you do want one, if you do see the pre-orders, go ahead and like do the pre-order through Keith or like GGT, or if Kevin can do pre-orders for us, then let's do that.
I'll have to talk to him about that. I know Keith at GGT has already started the pre-ordering for all this.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be one of those things where once it sells, it's going to be like months until it restocks. So if you want one, get on it now, or else you're going to be too late before you know it. And yes, pre-orders do suck, but it's this is one of those things where it's a have to.
Time, Keith's pre-order is you get put on a list when they show up to his
first come, first serve. Yep.
He messages you, you pay him, you get it shipped right then and there. So it's like no money out of your pocket. So if you want it, put your name on. If you end up not wanting it, it is what it is. He moves to the next person.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Which I got in pretty early for the ESC, so hopefully I'm in that first round.
Now it is interesting too, because I think that even before that, it still comes through Vertex. So
I think, doesn't Keith have like direct through Rev D? Because when he gets his Yokomo and Rev D boxes, they come like they came from Japan.
Okay.
Whereas when Kevin gets it, it's like a nice box that you can tell has not been tumbled around a ship for a month.
On a boat for a month.
Yeah, exactly. Like when Kevin gets his, it's all nicely packaged. There is no crinkles.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Keith posts his, it's like that package has been through some shit. Like,
I mean, that
definitely tumbled around.
that could be the case. That is for sure. Let's see. Let's do. Nope, we can't do that.
I like those wheels. I want the white ones and the chrome. I don't care for black wheels.
Yeah, so these are the new 10-spoke wheels from Rev D. Now, the cool thing about this, so the recent generation of wheels had already increased their offset to 8mm, so you could get both 6mm and 8mm. Now, on these, I saw that you can get 10mm as well. So if you do have extra wide fenders, that'll help out with that.
Wide.
And here I am trying to get as narrow as possible because all my stuff is super wide.
Right. I mean, it is interesting because you can tell, like, even just by stance of the car, you can tell a lot of people just, like, who actually competes, because they'll have, like, their super wide front end with the super skinny rear.
Yep.
Can we have a wheel discussion on a future show? What's to know? Like, there are traction wheels.
I was saying,
Super high traction.
You got MST hard. You got Yokomo and Rev D are about the same squishiness.
Mm-hmm. And then you have
my
top
lab
line.
wheels are extremely noodly. Which, yes, you can tell the difference. Some people didn't believe me, and then I threw in my lab wheels, and they're like, "Oh wow, okay, there's way more grip."
Yep, it's hilarious.
I have 2 sets of labs, and I like them.
I have one set now. Damien has my other set. I need to order more wheels.
Offsets and traction wheels. I mean, traction wheels. Yeah. The conversation about offsets might be more interesting just because of how that ratio from front to rear affects your drivability of the car. So that would be a good conversation.
That's what I noticed yesterday. I went from 8mm wheels down to 6mm wheels, and the tune I had on the 550 and the tune I had on the MD there's a noticeable difference between how it reacted with even just that 2 millimeters of wheel offset. It was crazy.
Yep. It's more than just that because you're adding that 2 millimeters to scrub or reducing the scrub
Yeah.
radius. So like there's a lot that goes into it.
So when I went down to 6 millimeter, it was just like uncatchable almost. And then I went back through my 8 mils back on, and it was just fine again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you talk to the RCFC guys, like more specifically Michael Keane, he'll refer to it as a ratio from the front to the rear. Like you can have different offsets. It's just maintaining said ratio to be able to drive right. So this is interesting. This came off of it's called KK Pit, I think. Is the brand name of the chassis. It's a China brand name, it sounds like. When I brought it up here, we think it might have been the guys that are doing like the T game guys, or the guys that never mind, we won't go into that. But this has a motor plate that has dampening, kind of like the floating motor mount of the Overdose Calm, like that kind of setup. So that's kind of cool. And then I did post more pictures of it down a ways. Here it is. So it's kind of like it's a YD2. It looks like a YD2S kind of base platform, just because the way that the spur gear is so low. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Like, as just aesthetically pleasing. That's about it. But I can almost guarantee you that it's probably YD2 geometry.
Yeah, it looks pretty good though. What front end is that?
It's close to like a well, hold on. If these screws are what I think it is, then it's probably, oh, I don't know. I would say it's probably more of just like your SX3, or because of the slide rack, like closer to the MD1 or the Wrap Up Next slide rack.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks like an MD1 slide rack.
Mm-hmm. Just because of the narrowness of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's some nice curves that I see in here that, like, especially in the transmission, that look really, really cool. And the dampening, it's nice to see some, like, the dampening effect being applied to other cars as well. John in chat, do you guys run wide offsets for performance, or do you match offsets to the body? If you look at my Mustang, I have like 6 millimeters of tucked tire. That doesn't look good at all. But that's just because the Mustang's so wide. I will typically match the wheel to the fender though. So I am one of those people. What about you, Judd?
I try to get a fitment as good as possible. Currently right now I have 2 bodies that I'm running tomorrow that are absolutely horrible in my eyes. I have mad gaps between wheel and fender, but they're temporary bodies, so it is what it is. And I already have 8 millimeter wheels on both of them, so I could use some 10 millimeters. That'd be nice.
What about you, Chris? Do you run to the body, or do you just...
I do.
There you go.
I run it to the body.
Gotta have that look. It's gotta
be
right.
the look, man. It's gotta look right.
For sure.
Fitment is key.
I don't think there's any right or wrong to it, but I've been able to get all of my cars like to the point where I'm either just as fast or can always keep up. And that's even my high CG Mini. Like, my high CG Mini is not fast by any means, and it looks absolutely ridiculous on the P tile, but it keeps up. I can be able to keep up with other drivers.
I can sometimes. Some nights, like Friday nights, after like 8 o'clock, my driving just goes downhill.
So then do you try to get wide bodies like 205? No. The body that I just showed you, the GR86, it's 198 according to the tag. The Mustang is like 205. The original GR86 from MST, or like their wide body one, is also 198 as well. Beamer is that same wheelbase too, or wheel width. The wide ones I only see if you're running like Pandora bodies, Aplastics bodies, where they're more fitting to scale than what Yokomo does or like MST is doing. Yeah, so like the traditional width was like 190 for touring car standards, then 190 to 200 was like GT, or whatever you call it, but the class where like all the muscle cars were in, and that 200 millimeter standard was kind of where drift also stepped in, because you could do all that interesting, like you could do the flares, you could do everything without being too outlandish. Top line wheels. Oh, so Jake had this. I didn't drive it, but it's supposedly like an agile, or just off of hand feel, it's like an agile with a torque rotor in it. It's 150, 160 off of the Super G website, so it is there in terms of price, but it's a D-like motor, so the resale value on this will probably be pretty high in the end. If you don't like
buying one or two of them, to be honest.
I mean, if you're thinking, then do it, because this is going to be like one of those things where it's like it will sell out and you'll never be able to buy it again.
Was it like a limited run or something?
It's just the way that they do things. It like
okay.
If you watch like when D-like parts become available, they sell, and then it's like it takes forever for them to come back in stock again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, VTA.
Maybe I'll have to go buy them.
VTA was class. Okay.
I think I drove it last night. If he has it in his MD, I definitely drove it last night.
I think it's in the MD. I'm not 100% sure. This, I think, is worthless. It's the carbon crossplate for the RDX.
It honestly doesn't even look good.
It doesn't warrant you any performance upgrade. Like, even though that it would probably say that it stiffens the chassis, but it's not stiffening the chassis like in a way that would be necessary.
Is that going just straight to the 4 holes that are already there?
Mm-hmm.
With the X brace that's under that brace?
Mm-hmm. I would rather venture into the world of the RCO caster plate. When I see those come in, I'll probably be ordering one of those, because more adjustable caster on the RDX is going to be something that's more worthwhile to me.
Chris said magnet options for body mounts. Possibly.
But you already get a plate. So I didn't even mount mine, but you already get a plate that's similar to this. Like as far as these holes go, it's already in the kit. But most people are like using these holes to mount bodies, or these ones just without this extended part. It just depends.
Yeah. Where did I put mine at? Yeah, I put mine on the 2 front holes right there.
Right. Oh, speaking of this, yeah, we got Vittorio in the Discord as well. So, he is Team AccuVans. If you have any AccuVans questions, hit him up. Or basically RDX guy, and I think he has a LTS and a few other chassis as well. But he does really, really well. This is what I was saying. This is the RCO caster plate, which gives you a lot more adjustability for caster.
I like that.
Like it's actually functional. I'm kind of interested of when they'll actually release the like aluminum shock towers, because you know that's coming.
Oh yeah, it's gotta either aluminum or carbon.
Coming in back with the V2 Kansai deck. Oh, this is the Tech 1. This is one of the Tech 1 drivers. So it has a Shark front end. And a Shark rear transmission, but it has the RDX battery tray.
So it's a Shark, not an RDX.
I think my joke was the Shard DX.
Shard DX. I mean, I guess it's got some RDX with it, battery mount.
It's just the battery plate. Yeah, V2 deck seems to be going really, really popular. There is three different. Well, there's a multitude of different flex options for it, and I think they even include like a little chart of like how much flex, or like if you're looking for this style of driving, to apply whichever chassis braces. This was cool. A new Radio Master radio. So Radio Master isn't necessarily like known in the drift world at all.
That thing looks like a generic Futaba.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So, but what caught my eye is the whole Express ELRS radio protocol on this. This is the same protocol that like drones just kind of hopped onto for the past few years, really within the past year, and like making it big. Express LRS is Express Long Range System, I believe. So I'm just curious of how fast the protocol will be for drift cars, because if you don't feel any latency with the drone or an FPV quad, same thing, but yeah, then it probably will do us pretty well as like in the same idea. The only thing that I wasn't like really hyped up about Radio Master is like when Phil showed me his setup initially for drift, he was using like the one. It has the built-in gyro, so you just got to remember to like turn off the gyro and make all that fun stuff go away. Because he did think that it was going to work with it.
There's a few people who thought that their receiver gyro would work.
Okay, so this is Judd's interest right here.
Yes.
So this is DES Racing, which he posts a lot of concept stuff, and he posted they weren't were they hexagons? The chassis from last week.
The ugly ones. Yeah.
But yeah, he does a lot of concept art. He does a lot of product design as well. Some of it's cool, some of it's not. This is interesting because it's using the everything stock that's just on the MD1 to begin with. So I would think that this has a good ability to be useful for the MD1. Or would you just like to see a traditional pin setup with toe blocks? Like that's the real question. Because we did make the comment that we should just have Lance modify the deck for the Midnight Shark to an MD1 transmission.
Oh, right. I mean, that's just a weird setup.
It is weird. Phil needs to come back to Corpus and slide. Yeah, he does. He needs to stop building just rockets. Or he's just building rockets. Okay. Oh, Mile High. Proximity sensors. So that'll be cool.
That's cool. Oh
And
yeah, we're gonna need some of those for sure.
we already talked about these. Yeah, we don't need to say anything more about that. Okay, we're going to go to the last section here, and we're just going to kind of crunch through these because we are past 10. So, this is the new section of the Discord. It's called Roast My Workbench. This is a request from Jake. So, we're just going to do a once round here, and then we'll kind of bounce back on topics, and then we'll call it a night. So who do we got here? We got Jake here. I have that same poster.
I mean, that looks like a pretty good bench.
Is there a TV? Or does he just work on cars?
Come on, Jake, where's your TV at? And I know you have one.
I'm assuming he does.
No, he does because it was in the back seat of my car.
Go. Let's see. This is Lance.
That's a serious bench right there.
With Robin Hood men in tights. Oh, actually,
interesting choice.
So if you look at the wall, there's a lot of prototype stuff that's going on here, and it's pretty cool. So over on the right side, over here, is the evolution of the Midnight Mini Deck. So the two silver ones are the aluminum chassis, and then the one in the middle was the adaptation to the YD2S transmission. So it has an inline battery and then has like electronics tray for other stuff. Yeah. And then over on the left side, the top one has like I think it's his like weird box frame chassis. Like, have you ever seen FPV quads like up close and personal, like how they just look like a sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, no. Basically it just looks like a box, and it has electronics in it. It drove okay, it wasn't the best, but below it then you see the evolution of the Midnight Shark that you see. So yeah, Lance has been doing some pretty epic stuff as far as like chassis design and what we want to see in chassis. So if you ever have an idea, let him know and he might be able to make it true or make it happen for you.
We need a deck for the MD.
But
Well,
why?
I guess not, because our designs has them coming out anyways.
So this is just the wall behind me, literally the wall behind me. It's nothing special. It is a mess, but that's just, yeah, it is a mess. That's not anything to my left or whatever, but yeah, that's me.
Is that an R35 over there or a Z?
It's R35. Do you want it?
I just ordered an R35. I think it arrived today.
Oh, do you want this one? I don't have any use for it.
No use.
No,
I'll throw it on my wall if anything.
I don't need to.
Or I've got a 86. I never realized how many 86 bodies I've had until I just started counting one day, because like here I have 2 that are visible, and then I've had another like 4 of them just going through the years, because I've had the body that you have, like your pink purple body, and then I've had like the overdose version of it as well, and a few of the HPI version, and yeah, I've had a lot of 86s. Ben, he'll missile the R-35.
Yeah, you will.
He'll missile anybody.
Let's see what Austin has to show.
Austin could see it.
Okay.
He's got some space there.
Right, so
It's not going to do that either.
and then we got Chris. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
There-
Chris, clean that place up, bud.
There's no
Dude.
bench. There's no place to work.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to clean up before you could work on anything.
It's probably why Chris never comes out. And somehow he still builds crawlers in there.
Does he build or does he just buy? Mm.
No, he builds. He just starts finding random stuff as he digs for other stuff he's looking for.
It's called Momo's Hobby
There
Shop.
There might be a
Momo's hobby
clinical name
shop.
for this.
Hoarder?
Something.
And then we got Judd.
The messy area. It's actually semi-clean for once.
Is this where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting in
You
that
got
chair.
You got some space there to work. That's not bad.
Or start a
And then if
YouTube
you-
channel.
If you turn around to the other side, there's a whole drift track in this garage too.
Hey. +1 for garage tracks.
Yep.
Yeah,
You gotta have a garage track.
somebody's gonna have to come and help me lay out the track in my shop now that I got the floors finished.
Where's your shop at? Oregon City area?
Yeah, it can be.
Can be.
I got like a 15 by 30 area that we got to lay out.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about one last thing here. And it's going to be about electronics and electronic packages, because a lot of the times, and this is going to close it out for tonight, a lot of the times, like, we get stuck with people asking, hey, what electronics should I get? Or, well, no, that's just the question, right? What electronics should I get? Or even in chat, we've had multiple questions about gyros and motors and whatnot. Or even, talking about the hobby wing motors and how, like, the D10 motors just don't have any torque to begin with. So you either need to buy the high torque rotor or the mid torque rotor for it to be semi-useful, at least for me, right? And of course, everything's going to be different and everyone's going to have their own opinions. But Super G released their kind of, I wouldn't say a la carte, but like basic pro or basic plus pro and premium packages. And it's kind of interesting when you look at these. So like the basic here, tell me if this is a basic package for you. So it's $135. It includes a quick run, so a Hobby Wing quick run ESC, a quick run brushless motor. It's a 10.5 or a 13.5. The R12 high performance low profile servo, so that same servo that DJ has in his first evolution or first RMX version, and then the G1 drift gyro, which power HD, which I think is the same thing that DJ had. So maybe this is the package that DJ had. But what, for $135?
That's
I mean,
honestly not
seems
a
like-
bad deal.
No,
I was going to say, you can't beat it for the price.
but is this something that you'd recommend someone?
Maybe if they're just starting, but you're gonna grow out of it pretty
Right.
fast.
Because even
So I
if,
think-
like, even
Unless
if you,
you're Logan. He's still rocking no boost, just stock, everything.
mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So I mean, Logan's kind of proves the point of like ESC and motor don't matter per se to be able to hang.
Clearly.
Because I can throw all the boost and turbo I want. It just sounds cool to me.
So my opinion is that Judd was kind of right on the money there, is that the likelihood that you're going to outgrow those components exists, but so is the likelihood that you're going to jump into a hobby and be like super stoked on it for, a month or two, and then just find that you just don't do it, and it's tough to make a big, monetary commitment to something that you're unsure of, but at that price point, you can get into it and feel it out and see what happens.
Well, so let's complete the package here, right? So that's the majority of the electronics, right? And then you throw in a 3PV for like 150, right? So close to 300. And then you add in an RDX on top of that. So you're at 580, 600, right? Close to 600. So even still, though, that's $200 more than like an RDX or RDS, like ready to run. Still $200 more expensive than the MST RMX ready to run. But you're getting the better electronics for $200 more.
And a better chassis out of the box after you build it.
Yeah.
And better radio. The radio that comes with the RTR is pretty. I don't know that it's analog, but I helped a guy with one at the track, not this last Friday, but the Friday before, maybe, I think it was. And that RTR MST, that thing was rough.
Mm-hmm. Like, it does the job, right? But that's
barely
it.
It really is a barely, man. I could barely get it around the track. That's the barely that it was.
So, I mean, but now you got to talk about the idea of, is it really a good place to start? Or is the better place to start with the RDX with the basic electronics pack, right?
I'd say the basic pack would be the better way.
Me too. I personally would say that.
Like, I have multiple people come up to me week after week, and they're like, "Hey, can you help me tune my car?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem. What do you got?" And then they hand me the car, and I'm like, "All right, the chassis is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and set your radio up." And they hand me like a stock Hexfly radio or a stock MST radio, and then I just look at them and I'm like, "I can get you around the track, but to be able to tune properly and hang, you need a better radio." Like, I had a guy Friday come up to me, super nice guy, that pretty sure it was like his first car. He was starting to upgrade electronics here and there. And then he bought a fast servo, like everybody does when they're new and they don't know. Savok servos, unless you're Ben, I don't know how to tune around the twitchiness. Ben can drive the crap out of his Twitch car and it works just fine, but yeah, the guy had some stock radio, so I couldn't adjust gyro on it. Yeah. So it was like, you go out and do a little bit of driving and then come back and use a screwdriver on the gyro. Yep. And you can't fine tune a gyro with a screwdriver. It's like, it's either too much or too less, too much or too less. You can never get like that 1 point that you need.
Agreed.
That was my biggest gripe too, is with the RTR, you get that radio and gyro where it's an analog interface. And yeah, it was, I don't know that you can get it fine tuned at the level where you could be proficient. It would, I don't know, it doesn't seem possible.
So the annoying part is the RTRs, like, they're supposedly a 3-channel radio, but I don't have no idea how it works. The other part of it is that like the gyros that they come with have the additional signal wire for the gain control. It's just the radios doesn't want it, doesn't like it. Let's see what's in chat. Brian, ever see the Amazon ESCs? Just like an OMG or Onisiki without the name on it. Okay. Brian found a pretty cheap ESC setup that can hang and programmable. Yeah. I don't doubt there are decent like off-brand or just no-name electronics on Amazon. But the horror stories that I hear from electronics from Amazon, like especially for the no-name stuff, that's what worries me.
Man, but you got the Amazon warranty though.
Right, and sure.
It blows up, you send it back, get a new one.
Honestly,
The
though,
Bezos.
like I hate sending crap back. Like,
Oh, it's a pain. It's a pain because they used to send you like a shipping label, and then you just shipped it back. Now you have to go to like a Kohl's or some other store and have them ship it back.
I wouldn't know. Okay, so
Portland problems.
let's flip to the other side, okay? And just put in front of your face all high-grade electronics from Acuvance. They're calling this the GOAT or the premium combination. So the combo itself is $869.94, and that's with a $50 savings. So you're basically paying $900, almost $900 out the gate if you buy them all separately, supposedly. But that's all top tier electronics with a Futaba server. So I don't
radio?
know. That's not including a radio. That is just
what?
ESC
Futaba Servo 550. I'm gonna guess they put the
Fledge
Jarvis XX.
Yep.
And a Fledge.
And a Raystorm fan in that. No capacitors, so that's interesting.
For $900?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. In my experience, I've had a few of the different Acuvance ESCs. Personally, couldn't tell you the difference between any of them except for the XX has adjustable BEC programming.
So does the RAD.
The RAD does not.
RAD does.
It didn't on my radio. Only the XX has adjustable BEC.
I thought it did. It'd be stupid for them to not.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Pretty sure the only thing difference between Jarvis and RAD is a case and some frequencies. But you can't change the voltage on a BEC for the RAD.
Okay. Well, other than that, then it is the adjustable, or it's the fan ports. It's the number of fan ports. That's really
so 2 fan ports. But honestly, I've never had to try and plug in my fan to the ESC besides the one that's on the ESC.
So John came in to chat. Acuvance is too difficult for beginners. But
I wouldn't say that. Acuvance tuning is just like any other tuning.
Yes. Yeah, so as far as tuning's perspective is, it's the same thing as Hobbywing, right? They all tune by like frequencies, right? So 32
it's all the same
kilohertz. Programming. Yeah, in essence, right? But the learning level or the learning curve to get all of their things set up and working right, that I also wouldn't say is advanced. I don't think it's advanced, but it's not as straightforward as it should be. I think that is the real downfall, which is why I made a video for it. Yeah. Sorry, Chris, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, beginners got to be able to use reverse on demand.
Oh, yeah. Wait, you don't want to say Acuvance reverse out loud before you can hit the trigger?
No.
Oh, is that how you do it? AccuVents reverse.
That's the only way to do it.
It's the go-to, yeah.
I mean,
If you say AccuVents reverse and then hit the trigger, it reverses every time.
I just say like,
Oh, tuning isn't the problem. The updates on the remote. That's why I have Adam for it.
okay. Updating any remote it can be either it's along the lines of the same kind of frustration. Like if it is by a well, actually, I don't know how the nobles update. So
Those things should just go in the garbage, to be honest.
I mean, only because of the recent like durability issues that we've been hearing about.
Well, that's the problem is everybody has started actually using them and found out the weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're only getting to that point.
Yeah.
GUID 550's Futaba. It's not AccuVants. Funny thing is, I believe you had a guy saying it out loud every time he needed to.
Yeah, I've had a couple people do that.
It's common at the track. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing.
AccuVents reverse.
Yep.
I just say it in my head now.
You need to come up with something more catchy. Like making buddies.
Making
Don't
buddies.
Yeah, that is the ultimate thing. Just don't crash.
I crash all the time, so
I was just
really
going to say, I need reverts. I'm a crasher.
Okay, last question. What is my priority in upgrading electronics? Well, first, Chris, you need to get rid of that speed passion motor, and you need to just fork out some money and get an actual motor. Speed passion was good.
I got one right here for you, Chris. Buy it.
But in all seriousness, if the base kit that we're coming from is like an RTR radio, I'd do radio first, and then servo and gyro, and then I would think about ESC and motor after that.
First, second, and third in RTR.
That's what I just answered.
Yeah, none of them.
No. In electronics upgrades, I think is what he's referring to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Radio and gyro got to be first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because especially if you're well, actually, the new MST gyro isn't that bad. It's basically a knockoff of the Yokomo one.
The 302 or whatever.
It's closer to a V4 than a 302. It's in the same case as a 302.
It has endpoint adjustments on it, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, but to answer Chris's question, like the MST for noob, does the 2.5 come with adjustable turnbuckles?
No.
Yeah, so right off the bat, you have to put money into them.
Well,
But out of the get-go, out of all the RTRs that I've driven, I would have to say with free modifications, the best one is Red Cat. The gyro is a rebranded V4. It's got endpoints. It's a hard metal case, just like the V4. It's hex fly. The servo isn't half bad. Motor and ESC is your basic, no boost, no turbo, probably a rebranded Hobby Wing setup. But like
A Joe stock.
yeah, like a couple little free modifications that you can do with your typical dikes that you have at home in the garage and a razor blade. You can get all the angle of any high-end car. And they drive good. So over MST or Red Cat, I'd probably choose Red Cat.
which is odd to say because Red Cat, like, because Red Cat, it seems so like outlandish to say, but in reality, yeah, I'd probably go with the Red Cat over the RMX right now. Out of
And then
those two,
RMX over the Yokomo, because the Yokomo should never even came out with an RTR.
yeah, they messed that up like
That is so
way
bad.
big time. Chris? Have you seen an RTR Yokomo YD2?
I haven't, but if it's worse than the MST, I can't imagine.
It's got friction shocks, or basically, it's got
Oh,
it's got it's got springs. That's about it.
interesting. That sounds pretty cheap.
Although the coolest part about those is the way that they disassemble, because like it's like you twist and then you can pull it apart. That's about it.
I mean, how hard is it to pull
Horrible.
a shock apart, anyways?
Not.
Not
Yeah.
very hard.
Not hard.
Unless they're the MST ones where they're using like the stupid the ball stud is also threaded, so you run a screw. Well, no, because Yokomos are like that too. Never mind. But any shock that has like a captured screw, that's a pain in the butt. And HRC nerds become a pain in the butt because you can't change your spring without taking all of that off.
I'll never own nerds.
I mean, it's a use case scenario, right? Because like the people that I talked to at Super G championships, like when they had nerds, the idea and the use case scenario was they travel a lot for drifting, right?
I was just going to
so they
say,
can tune on the go.
changing surfaces.
Mm-hmm. Like when it actually matters.
I mean, we mostly drift on the same surface, so once you get it dialed, it's dialed.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for now, or for the past little while, or since PDX opened, I've never made any changes to my car to like fit the surface type better than any other, like better than concrete, right? It's always just been, oh, I'm fine, I can drive. I don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, nerds equals travel. Yeah, so I agree on that, but at the same time, it's just like they seem so impractical once you start thinking about all of the process that you need to take to be able to either maintain them or to just do simple things like change the spring. But yeah. Okay, you guys, it is 10:37. It's a lot later. Do you guys like these longer streams, or like, because for the past 2-3 weeks now we've been going for 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. Like, if you like them, that's cool, then we can keep them. Or do you like the shorter ones? I'm all for the longer, as long as I have things that we can talk about or just like be dumb about, I guess.
I like the longer
I mean,
ones because it gives me more time to finish random stuff and listen at the same time.
Gotcha. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I've been into the longer ones too. I mean, this is what I'm nerding out on drifting right now, so it's my jam. I'll talk about it. Anybody, like people that aren't, it's like, so guess what I've been doing? Let me talk to you about it for an hour. Oh, you're not interested? Too bad.
Dude, my coworkers have to hate me talking about RC drifting. They're like, "You're gonna go drift?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What car do you what car do you drift? You don't drift. You don't even drive a drift car to work." And I'm like, "RC cars." And they're like, "Oh, those."
Yeah, it's worse than talking about my show cars. You know, talking about RC drifting, people just look at you and then they want to talk about anything else.
Yep.
It's like, we're going there. We're going there.
That is one thing I do agree with DJ. Start at like 7.
I mean, it used to not be a thing because of when I would get home from the track, right?
Oh,
So I would go grab food and then the stream would be would be there. But at the same
That makes
time,
sense.
like starting earlier doesn't necessarily mean, well, it just depends on who I can get, right? So I don't know. And then I have to change maybe I'll change the time once we hit in 2 weeks, because that'll be the official 1 year mark.
Oh, nice. It's been a year already.
It's been a year, yeah. Kind of
Jeez.
crazy. So I don't know if I'm gonna take December off and then kick it off in January just like I did last year, or if I'll just stream. So yeah. Other than that, it's been fun, you guys. Judd, thanks. Chris, thanks for being on the stream. If you guys have any
welcome.
questions, you know where to come. Like, ask in chat, ask in the Discord, ask in the comment section even. Yeah, we've got answers for you. And if we don't know answers, then I know where we can get answers. So we are informed. If anything else, you guys have a good evening and keep it fun. Later.
Later, guys.
Later.